A very good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and this is The Ambassador, where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. I am your ambassador, Susan Nganga. To our first story, People's Liberation Party leader Martha Karua on Sunday stated that she was denied entry to Tanzania and deported back to Kenya. In a social media post on Sunday morning, Karua said she, alongside Law Society of Kenya Council member Gloria Kimani and a member of the Pan-African Progressive Leaders Solidarity Network, were denied entry. Here's Davis Karani with that report.
The three of us have been detained awaiting deportation.
The former Kenya's Justice Minister and PLP party leader Martha Karua was deported back to the country from Tanzania yesterday, just a few hours after her arrival to the country, which will be participating in the general elections on the 28th of October this year.
The great Mwalimu Nyerere, who welcomed all people, the oppressed of Africa, this is not what he must have envisaged.
The Kenyan Senior Council says that her entry into Tanzania is linked to her interest in the case against Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu.
If as citizens of Jumuiya, we can be detained arbitrarily and deported, it means that the purpose of the Jumuiya is lost. It is a very sad time for East Africa, and it is up to us as citizens to say no to oppression.
The Chadema party chairperson was on April 10th charged with treason after his arrest at the public rally, where he called for electoral reforms. Karua has since led a Pan-African rights lobby group seeking the release of Lissu and the dropping of the politically motivated charges against him. Martha Karua, Lynn Gungi and Kimani were set to observe a hearing related to the case against Lissu scheduled for today, Monday 19th May, at the Kasutu Magistrate Court. The Kenyan chapter of the rights groups, Amnesty International, said the act undermines the fundamental rights of a fair and public hearing enshrined in the international human rights law. It is the second attempt of Martha Karua to be blocked into foreign land to defend her clients. Davis Karani for GBS Ambassador, Tanzania.
Tensions are rising once again in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where M23 rebels have expelled hundreds of civilians from the city of Goma. The group claims the individuals were illegal Rwandan nationals, but human rights concerns are growing over the forced removals and destructions of legal documents as regional accusations fly and humanitarian crisis deepens. Here's more on that scene.
The M23 rebels have expelled hundreds of civilians from the eastern Congolese city of Goma, claiming they were illegal Rwandan nationals. Witnesses say entire families were forced onto trucks, while Congolese issued ID documents were banned. On Monday, M23 spokesperson Willy Ngoma presented 181 people, alleging they were Rwandan, along with their wives and children. Many of those expelled were from the Karenga region in North Kivu, previously controlled by the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, also known as the FDLR, a Rwandan rebel group accused of atrocities. Both M23 and the Rwandan government accused Kinshasa of backing the FDLR as violence intensifies in the already unstable region. UN experts report that M23 is supported by roughly 4,000 Rwandan troops. According to the UN Refugee Agency, 360 people were repatriated to Rwanda on Saturday, most of them displaced residents from camps near Sake. With the conflict escalating, Eastern Congo faces a deepening humanitarian crisis, leaving thousands in limbo and raising serious concerns over forced displacement and human rights violations. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
We'll keep you more updated on that story as it develops now. Tragedy has struck once again in Mogadishu. A deadly suicide bombing has rocked the Damanyo military base, killing at least 10 young army recruits and injuring dozens more. The bomber targeting a queue of hopeful waiting to join the Somalia army, unleashing chaos and devastation. While no group has claimed responsibility, suspicions immediately turned to the Al-Shabaab military group, known for its brutal insurgency across the region. Here's the full report. A suicide bombing struck the Damanyo military base in Mogadishu, Somalia, targeting a line of young recruits waiting to register for the army. The attack resulted in at least 13 deaths, with some reports suggesting even higher casualty figures, and left more than 20 people injured. The bomber approached the queue of teenagers and young men at the entrance of the Damanyo base and detonated explosives, causing a powerful blast. Eyewitnesses described scenes of chaos, with bodies scattered and people fleeing in all directions.
wixii aqoonsan ilaa 3 saacadood horeysa waxaana loo keenay dad dhalinyaro badan oo dhaawaca tirada dhaawacana loo keenay waxay gaarayeen ilaa 6 qofood oo dhaawacoodan aad u darnaa wax dhimasho ah markaas baysan jirin dhaawacooda wuxuu kasoo kala gaaray madaxa iyo caloosha dhammaantoodna waxaa loo sameeyey qaliin ilaa hadda qaliin ku jiraan laba ka mid ah dhaawacyadaas xaaladooda hadda way fiican tahay oo waxay joogaan qaybta bukaanjiifka 4 ka midna waa madaxa wax kasoo gaaray qaliimadoodana ilaa hadda way socdaan waxaan rajaynaynaa inay caafimaadkooda doonaan insha Allah.
No group has immediately claimed responsibility for the bombing. However, Mogadishu has frequently been targeted by the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab militant group, which has waged a long-running insurgency against the Somali government and often attacks military and government installations. The attack comes amid heightened tensions following the assassination of Colonel Abama Huja, a battalion commander in the Hiran region, about Al-Shabaab infiltrating Somalia security forces. The ambassador will take a short break. We'll be right back with even more.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Call this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants from me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think the school is the best school your children can go to.
What is always before you but can't be seen?
Kudiscover talent au
Kudiscover ulijuangaje like unaweza imba like
kini Trace Jumi Kipchoge kwa ngoma na mfala wanani diss na wanabonga kwa ngoma mafanjo ananipenda ndo nazidi kwa roga wenye walenjaribu mazee walishachoka na nikozabe meditation naendelesha generation niliofanya
wewe at 1 year old ulikuwa unafanya nini? You're feeling the vibe. Ulitoa a few days ago, unaweza taka utuambie like ulikuwa unafikiria nini when you came up with the lyrics? Yeah.
So I'm doing my thing. Don't try and stop me when I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to boss, let me do my thing. And if you're trying to win, you can be on my team. Yeah, so I'm doing my thing. Don't try and stop me when I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to boss, let me do my thing.
You feel like you're young at heart, I'm an old soul. If you could only listen to one singer or band for the rest of your life, who will you choose?
Hello, kids. Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 and 25 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap years. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long, but time still flies when you are having fun. Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin now. Pope Leo XIV was yesterday officially inaugurated as the Catholic head bishop about 2 weeks after his election as a pope by the College of Cardinals, in a ceremony attended by other world leaders, including American Vice President J.D. Vance at the St. Peter's Square. The Pope called for peace and unity in the world.
Moved slowly but surely in his mobile vehicle, waving and greeting the mammoth crowd that had gathered at the St. Peter's Square yesterday to witness his inauguration as the Pontiff of the Catholic Church. And then the moment of the day came.
Grant you the gentle out into the deep sea of history, and to let down its nets. And Pope Leo takes the book of the Gospels and holds it up for veneration of all the faithful.
In his inaugural speech, Pope Leo XIV reiterated the importance of peace and unity in the world.
Out this task, the Gospel tells us that it is possible only because his own life was touched by the infinite and unconditional love of God, even in the hour of his.
Notable leaders in attendance included USA Vice President J.D. Vance, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, among others. Pontiff has now assumed his cardinal role of shepherding the more than 1.4 billion Catholic faithfuls around the world, taking over from the late Pope Francis. Victor Udun, the ambassador.
Here, the ambassador, we are so excited to see what the new era for Pope Leo XIV will bring. Now we go on to the United States, where former U.S. President Joe Biden has currently been diagnosed with prostate cancer, which has spread through his bones. According to his office, he was diagnosed with the symptoms after his sick consultation with the doctors for urinary symptoms. The 82-year-old statesman led the nation from 2021 to 2025 and is undergoing treatment. President Donald Trump expressed solidarity, stating that him and her wife Melania extend their wishes and quick recovery. We wish the former president a quick recovery now. The Israeli military announced yesterday that it has launched extensive ground operations across the Gaza Strip, intensifying its campaign to dismantle Hamas and secure the release of remaining hostages. The escalation comes as international concern grows over the deepening humanitarian crisis in the region. According to Palestinian health officials, more than 100 people were killed in overnight strikes, highlighting the rising toll on civilians as the conflict enters a new phase. Here's more on the save by Beatrice Ongoi.
The Israeli military has initiated extensive ground operations across the Gaza Strip, intensifying its campaign to dismantle Hamas and secure the release of hostages. This escalation follows a 10-week blockade that has exacerbated the region's humanitarian crisis. According to Palestinian health officials, more than 100 individuals were killed in overnight strikes, many of whom were sheltering in schools and hospitals.
What is the fault of these children, of these women? Isn't this forbidden? Isn't it unjust? Does no one see us? Are we sheep being slaughtered? My father died, my mother died, and my niece lost her eye.
Israel's ongoing military campaign, dubbed Gideon's Chariot, has expanded across both northern and southern Gaza, with heavy airstrikes resulting in over 130 Palestinian deaths over the weekend and further casualties reported today. Critical infrastructure, including major hospitals like Nasser and the Indonesian hospital, have been severely damaged, worsening an already dire humanitarian situation.
After the 7th of October, probably most of us wanted to start a war against the Gazan as people. But after a while, we understand that this government is not representing us anymore. It represents only the extremists.
The UN and aid groups warn that 1 in 5 Gazans now face starvation. Under growing international pressure, Israel has agreed to allow limited food supplies into Gaza, but aid agencies have criticized the proposed delivery system, possibly involving armed contractors, as ineffective and potentially leading to forced displacement.
The policy of siege and starvation makes a mockery of international law. The blockade against humanitarian aid must end immediately. And I say again, nothing justifies the atrocious October 7 terror attacks by Hamas, but nothing justifies the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
As Israel's ground operations in Gaza intensify, the humanitarian situation grows more dire. The international community faces increasing pressure to address the crisis and facilitate a resolution to the conflict. With over 53,000 Palestinians and 1,200 Israelis reported dead since the conflict began, the need for a sustainable peace agreement has never been more urgent.
589 days of hell since the...
Well, on to sports news and disappointing news to the Arsenal fans, where they have ended another trophyless season after failure to challenge for the Premier League and Champions League semi-final exit, but which players can transform them in 2025-2026. And that's all we had planned here at The Ambassador. Thank you for joining us as we uncover the latest developments. We'll continue to bring you more updates as they develop. Remember, here at The Ambassador, we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. I have been your Ambassador, Susan Nganga. Have a good afternoon.
Everywhere,
GBS.